Well, if you're involved in a car accident, there is a good chance that you might get hurt and you'll sustain an injury. Even car accidents that occur at relatively low speeds can cause serious and often chronic injuries.
And whatever your injuries, our next guest can help you get back on the road to recovery, so to speak. Anthony Crothers, who's a chiropractic physician, better known as Doc Tony, is back with us. Doc, good to have you with us.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
I see you on TV all the time with your hat, and yeah, Doc Tony.
Well, I've been on the show. This is my sixth time actually being on the show, Jen. And what I've been discussing is what happens when individuals are involved in low-impact collisions, specifically when they're rear-ended, and what their body goes through. What happens when they're injured and the soreness and the pain that they experience, and what happens if their soft tissue is not treated properly. If you don't take care of soft tissue when it's injured, it can lead to a long-term effect, worse than what the person would have had if they would have had proper treatment. And it tying it all in together, what I'm basically trying to get people to understand is when you go to the wrong clinic and you just call any number out there and you go to a clinic where they're going to send you where you're not going to get proper treatment, what usually ends up after 2 months, after they've treated you for 2 months and you're still in pain, is that where they get the people set up for surgery. And this was all set up from the beginning. These clinics do this not to try to get people to get better. The whole intention is to, number one, defraud people their PIP insurance, and then secondly, if there's bodily injury coverage, to set people up for a surgery that they don't need.
Let me ask you this. These unnecessary surgeries that you're saying are happening, that these certain clinics are telling someone they need, how does that affect everyone?
Well, here's how it affects everyone. Insurance companies in the state of Florida, how insurance works is we all put in as a whole. We all pay premiums, and that's to cover an individual if there's a loss. Well, if you're an insurance company and you have individuals that are defrauding or robbing the bodily injury coverage, in other words, that's the coverage. If I was to hit you and cause damage to you, I should have bodily injury coverage to take care of the person that I injured.
So much. You should have so much if you hit me.
Absolutely, Nick, absolutely. Could you imagine, Nick, and that's the point. If I hurt you seriously and ended your career, what would you do? And if the person, now how would you feel then if the person who actually caused this injury to you did not have any type of insurance coverage to take care of you?
And that is a big problem. A lot of people are out there driving around without insurance.
Absolutely. And here's the big, not only do they not have insurance, even if they have insurance, the bad thing about the state of Florida, we are the worst insured state out of all 50 states. In other words, if somebody hits you, it's not a guarantee that they even have bodily injury coverage because it's not a mandate in the state of Florida. In other words, your legislators in the state of Florida think it's better for the people that hit you, to not have bodily injury coverage. Therefore, you're not guaranteed that there's any type of coverage. In fact, starting next year in the state of Florida, we're actually going to be worse off than Mexico. And let me tell you something about Mexico. Mexico, you don't need to have insurance. Now, how do you think we could possibly be worse off than a country where you don't need insurance? Because if everything comes together next year and you were to have an accident, the person that hits you, they don't have bodily injury coverage. You don't have uninsured motorists, and let's say you came in on day 15, well, the insurance company doesn't pay you for anything, because as of next year, if you're involved in a car accident and you come in after 14 days, your insurance company doesn't have to pay for a dime. So now you have actually no coverage. And if you've actually paid for insurance for 10 years, $2,000 a year, $20,000, and you have an accident and you have no coverage, you're better off in Mexico.
Switching gears back to what you were talking about a second ago, these unnecessary surgeries that you say some clinics are recommending for folks and that they're having, and then that leads to something else you said, which is pain medications.
That's right. And what happens now to these individuals who had a surgery which they never needed to resolve pain that was never resolved because they never got the proper treatment, so the surgery's not going to help. And the whole plan from the get-go was to defraud the PIP, get them for the surgery, and then the long-term goal is to turn these people out and get them addicted to pain medication. And this is a comprehensive problem to all of us in our society, because when people are addicted to pain medication, you got to look, eventually they're going to end up on disability. When people have an addiction, it's a horrible life for them. It's a very sad thing. And these people do this to people intentionally. They know that if they prescribe these meds, and we're not talking about legitimate doctors, let's be clear. These are not real pain management facilities. These are pill boxes. These are doctors that sold their soul. They're there for one purpose, and that's to get people addicted to these meds so they can come back once a month and pay for that office visit, and they still have that income coming in. And it affects us all in productivity in our society. It affects our criminal system, and it affects Medicare and Medicaid. These people just don't go away. They end up severely disabled.
I know there's been a concerted effort really try to crack down on some of these that you're talking about that defraud the rest of us. I mean, from what you're saying, that you don't think it's gone far enough.
Well, they're doing the best they can, but it's a very tricky business. It's hard to get these people. So the best thing for people to do is just don't go or call any number. If you don't have a doctor or attorney that you know, call me, Doc Tony, okay? I'll be able to provide you with all your accident needs, but what you don't want to do is just call any number and just go to any doctor or just go to any attorney. It could possibly be a serious mistake.
Question for you here too then. You talk about legislation and our legislators and what we have as a result. You say Florida is the worst state in terms of insurance, right?
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this. What would you do if you were given the chance to be a Florida legislator?
Well,
He's announcing right now. You're running, right?
well, I'll tell you, I could never be a legislator, but I'll tell you what, if I was actually the governor, the one thing I would definitely make sure of, I would never put big business in front of the people of my state. And unfortunately what has happened, because this law that's happening with the personal injury protection in the state of Florida and what's going on, it got changed this year and made even worse than it's been. So that was all done and taken care of by the lobbyists for the insurance companies. And that's what you got to understand. When you have these other individuals in these clinics that are defrauding the people, they're defrauding the insurance companies too. And that gives them the opportunity to go to our legislation and say, look, what's going on? So then the legislators, what they chose to do is put the insurance companies ahead of the people. And bottom line is, in the state of Florida, 50th, we are the worst. We are the most uninsured out of all 50 states. Those are the realities.
All right. Well, bottom line is be informed, get educated, and as you say, talk to your legislators, it sounds like. All right. Thanks to Doc Tony for your opinions and your advice today and for sponsoring the segment.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
If you find yourself in need of some auto accident assistance, you can call Doc Tony, just like you said, at this easy to remember number, 1-888-888-8863 for a free consultation at one of his 2 convenient locations, or visit him online at www.doctony.org.